The intruder. The intruder doesn't knock, doesn't break in, and never waits for permission. He simply appears, already inside your home, already watching, already smiling. Originating from the Mandela catalog, the intruder is one of the most iconic and disturbing figures in analog horror. While many entities in the series rely on psychological manipulation or mimicry, the intruder is different. He's not pretending to be anyone. He's not trying to blend in. He exists solely to terrify. His face an unnatural stretch of skin and teeth, like a corrupted image file come to life. What makes the intruder so effective is the way he's first revealed, through a warped, unsettling home safety video that feels like it wasn't meant for human eyes. The video instructs viewers to avoid engaging with any unfamiliar persons and to hide immediately if an unidentified visitor is inside. The voice is robotic, the footage glitchy, and then cut to static, and you see him. His eyes are hollow, his mouth is too wide. His presence is wrong in a way your brain can't quite articulate, but your body understands perfectly. Just imagine that moment. A face bursting out of the screen. From that point on, looking at any screen never feels the same again. Unlike the alternates who imitate and infiltrate, the intruder is direct. He doesn't impersonate, he invades. He's the analog horror version of a home invasion nightmare, amplified through corrupted video feeds and unsettling silence. And somehow, that silence is louder than any scream. He doesn't need to speak. He's already said enough just by standing there. Trucidatum Carnis. Trucidatum Carnis waits in the dark, speaking with your voice before you even realize you're alone. It whispers your name from the darkness, and it whispers it in your own voice. From the deeply unsettling world of Vita Carnis, this creature, commonly known as the Mimic, is one of the most terrifying examples of biological horror in analog media. It doesn't kill for survival. It kills because it knows how to become you. Trucidatum Carnis is a formless, flesh-based entity that lurks in the dark corners of urban landscapes, concealing itself in shadowy alleys, tunnels, and even on buses at night. When it finds prey, it uses its grotesque imitation ability to reproduce the exact voice of a human it has previously encountered. It starts with something small, a name, a cough, maybe a laugh, just enough to make you turn your head, and that's when it learns more. Unlike classic doppelganger myths, the Mimic doesn't need to look like you. It becomes you in the dark when no one else is around. It feeds not just on flesh, but on recognition. The moment you say, "Who's there?" it has already won. I can already tell you're imagining how disturbing it would be to hear your own voice in the dark. Its voice gets smoother with each victim. The more it learns, the more convincing it becomes. Eventually, it doesn't just sound like you, it speaks like you think. Vita Carnis presents Trucidatum Carnis not as a wild animal, but as a horrifying evolutionary anomaly. One that has adapted to mimic the most dangerous creature on the planet. You don't see it coming, you just hear it. And it sounds exactly like home, the iris. The iris is more than a watcher. It is a presence that rewrites the world simply by observing it. From Gemini Home Entertainment, the iris is not a creature you can fight or even fully comprehend. It is a sentient, cosmic-level entity that exists outside of time and biology, more of an idea than an organism, more of an observer than a monster. But when the iris is watching, things tend to stop making sense. Its form is simple, a massive, unblinking eye, often appearing in distorted footage, warped topographical scans, or corrupted educational videos. But that eye doesn't just stare, it studies. And the longer it lingers on a location, the stranger things become. Plants start growing in impossible directions. Animals mutate. People disappear, or worse, transform. Gemini presents the iris as the true source behind Earth's unnatural events. It is not killing anyone directly. It is altering reality at a fundamental level. Just its gaze is enough to twist biology and logic. The horror of the iris lies in its silence. What should scare you isn't what you might hear from it. It is the way a single look from it can break the entire system. There are no threats, no chases, no blood. Only a slowly building realization that you are being observed by something ancient, and that your world is becoming unfamiliar. It's not hostile. It doesn't need to be. You're not a target. You're an experiment, and it's still watching. The Boiled One. The Boiled One spreads not through touch or sound, but through the very act of being understood. Introduced in the Boiled One phenomenon, this entity doesn't rely on physical force. It's a spiritual infection, a creeping curse that travels through media. The Boiled One spreads like a virus embedded in a televised program, quietly waiting to be seen, to be understood. It's basically an information virus, and honestly, it is definitely sneakier than YouTube recommendations. Because once you understand it, it's already too late. What is it exactly? That's part of the horror. Some believe it is a fallen angel. Others call it a war-born demon, a remnant of ancient violence twisted into a shape that barely resembles flesh. Its body is swollen and blistered, as if burned by knowledge too dark to contain. Victims of the Boiled One don't simply die, they descend mentally. The creature induces sleep paralysis, during which it whispers incomprehensible truths into the victim's mind. Communication becomes impossible except through Morse code. Isolation becomes total, and no one else can see it. It doesn't knock or scream. It infects through understanding. Watching the wrong tape, hearing the wrong message, or knowing too much is all it takes. The Boiled One doesn't want your body. It wants your consciousness, softened and silenced beneath the weight of something unspeakable. If you're still here, you've already tuned into this transmission, so there is no escape. Subscribe. The Painter. The Painter smiles as you scream, because that's the exact shade of red she was missing. Known as Mona Lanius, the central figure of the Painter series, this entity is not a cosmic horror or parasitic organism. She's a person, or rather she was. What makes her terrifying isn't what she is, it's what she became. Mona was once an artist, obsessed with capturing the essence of emotion in her work. But obsession rotted into madness, and madness demanded new materials. Paints weren't enough, canvases weren't enough, so she turned to people. Victims of the Painter don't just disappear, they're transformed into her art. Their bodies become brushstrokes, their final moments forever locked into nightmarish murals. She creates with flesh and displays her work in hidden galleries that are never found until it's too late. Her recordings are polite, calm. She speaks with the tone of a thoughtful curator, but behind the voice is an eerie stillness, the kind of silence that screams. Mona doesn't chase, she invites, she smiles. She makes you feel like you're part of something bigger, until you realize you are the medium. In a world of monsters born from space and sound, the Painter is something worse. Human horror perfected. The moon. The moon in Local 58 isn't a light in the sky, it's a commandment written in orbit. In the world of Local 58, the moon isn't a silent observer in the night sky. It's a lure, a signal, a throne, a trap. For centuries, we've looked up at it for guidance, for wonder, for light. But in this reality, looking up is the last thing you should do. The moon's presence in Local 58 is never direct. It speaks through hijacked broadcasts, subliminal messages, and eerie public service announcements. One infamous message simply reads, "Do not look at the moon." And yet people do, because the real terror isn't in what it does, it's in how it makes you want to obey it. There are recordings of people walking outside in the middle of the night, eyes locked upward, emotionless. They don't respond. They don't speak. They simply walk toward the light, toward whatever is waiting. At one point, a dashboard camera captures a man driving through the woods at night. Screams echo in the distance. The moon hangs low above the treetops, glowing unnaturally. Then the feed cuts, and something breaks through. Not from the sky, but out of it. Local 58 never shows the moon attacking. It doesn't need to. It's worshipped by those who've seen it long enough. In this version of reality, the moon isn't a celestial body. It's an ancient invitation. They say you shouldn't look, but you just can't help yourself, can you? And each time you do, you're answering its call. Alternates. Alternates don't wear masks. They wear your face. Straight from the Mandela catalog, the alternates are reality's glitch. Entities that infiltrate our world by copying the people we trust. They don't just look like you. They don't just sound like you. They become a version of you that's just off enough to trigger something deep and primal. You know that's not them, but you don't know why. Alternates replace family members, friends, even public figures. One of the most infamous, alternate Cesar Torres, doesn't attack his friend Mark with brute force. He sends him a calm, desperate video message, pretending to be Caesar, asking for help. Mark goes to his house. That's all it takes. They don't chase, they don't scream, they convince. And once they're in your life, they don't just destroy you physically, they make sure you're the one who finishes the job. The horror of alternates isn't in their appearance, though that's disturbing enough. Elongated faces, hollow expressions, distorted digital voices. The real horror is what they leave behind. Silence, paranoia, and a world where you can't trust even the face in your mirror. You never see the moment they arrive. You only notice once it's too late, because they don't become you when they copy you. They become you the moment you believe them. Once you believe them, you're no longer the person you remember being. Jack Walten. Jack Walten was never found, but parts of him still smile on stage. In the Walten files, Jack isn't just a missing person. He's the tragedy no one saw coming, buried beneath layers of corporate mascots and corrupted tapes. Once a family man and co-founder of the Bond's Burgers franchise, Jack disappeared under mysterious circumstances. But while the world moved on, something else took his place. That something wears a cartoon bunny suit. Its name is Bond. At first glance, Bond is just another animatronic. Rusty, jerky, with a too-wide grin. But the deeper you go into the tapes, the more that grin begins to feel personal. Bond doesn't just move. He reacts. He remembers. And that's because he's not just a machine. He's a coffin. Jack's consciousness, grief, or maybe just his pain has fused with the animatronic. The result isn't a haunted robot. It's a grieving father with no voice, trapped in a corporate mascot built to entertain children. The horror here isn't loud. It's slow. It's in the glitchy training videos, in the missing posters, in the way Bond tilts his head like he knows exactly who you are. Jack Walten never left Bond's burgers. He just stopped being Jack. Honestly, I have to admit, just talking about some of these still creeps me out a little. Out of all the monsters we covered, which one got under your skin the most? Let us know in the comments, because if you don't, well, they might. If you made it all the way to the end, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, here's hoping I don't have any nightmares tonight. See you next time.